What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? My name is Ray Rod, man. Your favorite person to talk crazy and make sense at the same damn time. If this is your first time at my YouTube page, man, welcome, man. How are you? Where you been, man? What took y'all so long, man? You didn't see how great I was? Damn. I'm just joking, man. But for real, man, thank you for checking me out, man. It's a lot of things that's been going on. I'm really just about to cut to the chase. Everybody, if whoever follows me or if you know me a little bit, I'm an Ohio State fan. I also am or was a Chicago Bears fan. Salute to them. You know, hope for their success. All the best. How they did Justin Fields, I'm not with it. And people can feel how they want to feel or say, why you just siding with them? It's just certain things that goes on that people do that I just don't rock with. I was an Olajuwon fan, and the way that the Houston Rockets did Olajuwon dirty, I never was a Rockets fan again. Then I wasn't really a Timberwolves fan, but I was a KG fan rooting for the Timberwolves. And the way that they did KG, I ain't root for the Timberwolves no more. So I have a pretty consistent track record just for me. I mean, I understand things are a business and everything. You ain't got to take things personal. But the way that certain organizations and if an organization or a person does somebody a certain kind of way, I have a right to look at that and be like, I don't really walk with that no more, but much success to him. So that's how I feel about Chicago. Essentially, I mean, Chicago fans, I mean, everybody has their opinions, but I can spit simple facts. You see, my shoulders jump because my shoulder like, get into it, Ray, get into it. Let them know, man, let them know. But anyway, I mean, I'll just speak straight facts. This is how it's going to go. Justin Fields got drafted by Matt Nagy, who was a lame duck coach in his final year, who a couple months prior to that, signed Andy Dalton and promised him the starting job and wanted to be a man of his word. Matt Nagy came from Kansas City. He saw how Alex Smith was there, and they drafted Pat Mahomes, and Pat Mahomes got to sit back and learn from Alex Smith for a year before he took the reins. Couple things. Kansas City was close to being a playoff team. Alex Smith was a playoff caliber quarterback, so Patrick Mahomes was allowed to sit and learn. Andrew Dalton, at that point, was released by the Bengals, who then tanked so they can get Joe Burrow, then became the backup quarterback for Dallas, had a Andy Dalton type year, which was worse than his other years, and then that's what Matt Nagy banked basically his coaching career on, trying to keep his word and trying to emulate the same thing that he saw in Kansas City, which is not the same thing, because Justin Fields was better than Andy Dalton at that point. Yet, you didn't give Justin Fields any reps with the first team at all. So you're building your team in your lame duck year around Andy Dalton. And you also had Nick Foles there. Andy Dalton gets injured. You end up having to go to Justin Fields. The first game that Justin Fields plays is against arguably one of the top 5 defenses over the last 4 years, the Cleveland Browns. He gives that man no protection. Game plan not built towards him. Justin gets sacked 9 times, which a lot of people were damn near calling for Nagy's head. You know what? I'll fast forward. Justin showed promise over the year. Doesn't matter. Nagy got fired. Then they hire another coach. Now you get a new GM and a new head coach. So now this regime didn't draft Justin Fields. Now I watch other teams that had other GMs and other regimes, and they built around their QBs. Ryan Poles had to get out of cap hell. I understand a lot of things that he had to do, but he tore down the team. The team that went 8-8 and snuck into the playoffs, even though they didn't deserve it, with Mitchell Trubisky. You then trade away, basically, you let go of Akeem Hicks. You traded Khalil Mack when, I mean, the Bears actually started off 2-1 in 2022. And then lost a couple games, had the best game against New England, and then you traded Roquan Smith, and then you traded Robert Quinn, and then you proceeded to lose 14 straight going into from 2022 to 2023. Which at one point the defense gave up 37 points a game, while the offense averaged 32 points over a 4-game stretch. Over a 17-game stretch, the Bears gave up about 31 points a game. They gave up 25 points, 14 consecutive games, which is the NFL record that's never happened in history. A good portion of the players, the skill position players that played on the 2022 Bears, are not in the NFL going into 2024, 2025. That was just a couple years ago. And then also you get an offensive coordinator who was the quarterback coach for Aaron Rodgers. We all know how this looks. You have two people that have gotten jobs because of Aaron Rodgers. One is Nathaniel Hackett. One is Luke Getsy. From my understanding, which maybe I'm crazy, tell me if I'm crazy. My understanding was that the offensive coordinator, you're supposed to cultivate and get the best out of your quarterback. You know, that's why you got hired, because you have what it takes. You're going to bring the best out of your quarterback. Instead, you try to make him into another quarterback while this is your first time ever at this position. Everything went bad. I don't want to keep going over spilled milk, but Justin, who may be able to run and was not a running quarterback, literally had to switch to be a running quarterback, because if he didn't show that dynamic ability to escape and run, he wouldn't even be in the league right now, even though everybody saw what happened. So that man changed and became a running quarterback, and some fundamentals were lost, I will say that. But also, the things that he does well, they're never called for him to do. Let's go on to 2023. They finally upgraded, get DJ Moore. DJ Moore, Justin Fields, top 3 highest rated as far as completion rate when thrown to and yards. And Justin Fields missed 4 games. Everybody said this is Justin Fields' 3rd year. He needed to explode the same way that Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen did in their 3rd year. The difference is that Jalen Hurts in his 2nd year and Josh Allen in their 2nd year had a playoff caliber team. They both went to the playoffs. And then their 3rd year, they got a number 1 wide receiver, and they got better all around. Also, during Josh Allen during that time, his defense went to be ranked in the top 5, I think, the next 3 or 4 years consecutively. Jalen Hurts, his 3rd year, he got A.J. Brown and already had Devontae Smith and arguably the best offensive line in the league and the best defensive line in the league. And the defense on a historical pace. Teams that made the playoffs made that leap from playoffs to Super Bowl contenders. Justin Fields' team was the worst team in football, but the expectation was to go from 3-14 to that when their pieces still had to develop. That doesn't make any sense. And let's just cut to the chase. Ryan Poles, they're in a unique situation. They had the number 1 pick from Carolina. Basically, Ryan Poles, man, he played the game, man, and I don't think he's a very smart person. He's made great picks. He's a shrewd businessman. I don't know if it was malicious. He just did what he had to do. He basically used Justin Fields as a bridge quarterback. He knew he was going to do it the whole time. They knew Caleb was sitting there. He's a generational pick. People will not let him live this down. They've convinced him you cannot have your ship sail and go down the drain with a quarterback that you didn't draft when you have this generational quarterback. And then they tried, because before they said Chicago needed to draft Bryce Young. Bryce Young looks like Justin Fields looked like in year 2, but he looked like that in year 1. Or now you should have drafted C.J. Stroud, when before C.J. Stroud went on this historical run, you guys said Ohio State quarterbacks can't produce. Now, in hindsight, C.J. Stroud is exactly who he has been, which was great. Now you use that against them, saying you passed on Bryce Young, you passed on C.J. Stroud, you can't pass on Caleb Williams. And they went for it. I mean, I understand. I mean, but the weird thing is how what people fail to realize. A couple things happened last year. The Bears started off terrible. They started off 0-4. They finished 7-10. So they went 7-6. The rest of the way, Justin missed 4 games. One thing that happened, that defense that was giving up 25 points, almost 31 points over a 17-game stretch, cut it down to about 21. And then they cut it down to about 18 or 19. So what happens is, when you cut the point total down over 10 to 11 points, then the margin of error is not, you have more of a margin of error as a quarterback. I'm old enough to remember, watching the same great defense that was at Philadelphia give up the same amount of points that Chicago Bears did the year before. And I saw a team that was more equipped and had more skilled players go 1-6 down the stretch. A team that just went to the Super Bowl. But when Justin with less talent, when his team did the same thing, I mean, of course, things looked a little different because Philadelphia's team was still offensively better than Chicago's. But anyway, there's no grace. Justin's trash. There's a lot of things that he could have did, but he was never set up to succeed. And it seems like a lot of NFL players see that, but the media had an overdrive to where this is how they feel. And then a report comes out that Justin was aloof, rude to Nick Foles, and didn't want to hear from Nick Foles. He was uncoachable, his first year. When we also saw Nick Foles utter out the words on the sideline, this system's not going to work. Talking about the system with Matt Nagy. So, I mean, the fact that report came out, and then, everybody has their side. You're either pro-Justin or anti-Justin. But, I mean, it's the same thing. When they came out, he said he was a lazy worker. He didn't work hard. C.J. Stroud wasn't smart. I mean, it's just a dirty game. I understand it's business, but people are fans, so they get to say whatever they want. But, you playing with people's lives and livelihoods and this type of stuff, and it's just like everybody deems it okay because as long as you're a fan and all this. But I just think it's crazy. So yeah, they played Justin. They used him as a bridge quarterback. Cool. Now he's with Pittsburgh. Hopefully he gets the help and the development that he needs, because anything can change in 1 year. I mean, and also I feel like I always said, sometimes karma isn't the worst thing to happen. I saw how the San Diego Chargers did Drew Brees for Phillip Rivers. They did him dirty. They always thought then Drew was supposed to go to Miami. He couldn't go to Miami. He ended up going to New Orleans Saints, who was not a great franchise at that time. San Diego had Phillip Rivers. They went 14-2, and they went all kind of records and everything. He has all kind of passing records. It's not a knock on Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers has all kind of passing records, and they had all time of teams that were supposed to go to the Super Bowl, and they never made it to the Super Bowl. They had stats, though. After Phillip Rivers, you got Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor, unfortunately, got injured, punctured his lung. You got Justin Herbert. It was an unfortunate situation, but it looks like he got played. Anthony Lynn got played. Justin Herbert's great. He throws for a lot of yards. They're not winning games. Sometimes that could be sometimes the karma could be, you'll get who you want, and you'll get the stats that you want, but you may not get the end result that you want. Meanwhile, Drew Brees resurrected a team that was known as being the laughingstock of the NFL, won a Super Bowl. So just beware of what you do to people. That's all I wanted to say right now, man. Thank you for checking with me. I'm going to have more. Don't worry. I'm going to be doing a little stuff like this. My name is Ray Robb, REIROBB 97. Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok. My YouTube page, Ray Rob as well. Man, y'all have a good one.